Hi first graders and first grade parents, Miss Pagan here. Today is Thursday and we're going to talk about what we're going to do for journal today. Please make sure you have out all of your materials that you were using to write from yesterday, whether it be your journal or a piece of paper and something to write with. Yesterday I introduced the topic where students were asked to think about the 3 different kinds of bees that are found in a hive: a queen bee, a drone bee, and a worker bee. Students were asked to introduce their writing by writing a topic sentence and also their first detail. Their first detail sentence should have introduced one of the types of bees. For details 2 and 3 that we're going to write today, students are going to be writing about the 2 bees that they have not yet written about. So let's go over the sentence starters that they can choose for detail 2. Students might choose to say next, a blank bee, and then another blank. So students are going to make sure they write the type of bee that they haven't written about after A. So if yesterday they wrote about a worker bee, now they might want to write about a queen bee. So students might say, next, a queen bee, and then students can write one piece of information that they know about a queen bee. They could choose also a queen bee, and then again, give me some information, a detail about a queen bee. Or they may choose, in addition, a queen bee, and then end with some information about a queen bee. Just like yesterday, students are going to want to make sure that they put their comma after their transition words. After they've chosen the sentence starter that they would like to use, they should share their sentence out loud to make sure that it makes sense. After they've shared their sentence, they can go ahead and get ready to write. Wherever they left off with their first detail sentence, that's where they're going to start today with their second detail sentence. They should write their sentence nicely on the line and then go ahead and go back and do their quick checks. They're going to check for their uppercase letter at the beginning of their sentence, space in between each word. They're going to make sure they have a period and also a comma after their transition words, and then go back and whisper read to make sure that it makes sense. After they've done that, they're now ready to write their third detail. So if students, let's say, started off by writing about a worker bee and a queen bee, they'll end their third detail sentence about a drone bee. So let's go over the detail sentence starters that they can choose from. The first one says last, and they might say a drone bee, and then they'll give some information about what a drone bee does. They could say lastly, a drone bee, or finally, a drone bee, and then of course ending with some information about what a drone bee does in the hive. Just like with our previous sentences, students are going to want to make sure they think about their idea first, pick their sentence starter that they would like to use, plug in the information that they would like to share about, and then share their sentence out loud with somebody that they are working with. When they're ready to write, they're going to go ahead and write after their detail 2 sentence. They'll write out their detail 3 sentence, and of course work on those quick checks, checking for an uppercase letter at the beginning, finger space in between their words, a period or comma also after their transition words, and whisper reading to make sure that it makes sense. After their third detail, they'll be ready to wrap up their writing with a conclusion. Thinking about our idea that a paragraph is a lot like a sandwich. Our topic sentence and our conclusion are like the bread. We want to make sure that those kind of mirror each other. So our conclusion today is going to sound very similar to what we wrote for our topic sentence. So I'll read you the choices, and then students can choose one. The first one says, as you can see, I know a lot about, and then there's a blank. So if students go back up to their topic sentence, they'll see that they wrote something about the fact that there are 3 different kinds of bees in a hive. So they'll want to make sure that they end their conclusion very similarly to how they wrote their topic sentence, mentioning that they know that there are 3 different kinds of bees in a hive. They can choose, this is what I know about. So again, going back up to their topic sentence, they want to make sure that they are repeating that idea that they know something about bees, the fact that there are 3 different kinds of bees. Or they can choose, now you know more about, and then there's that blank. So again, mentioning something about the fact that there are 3 different kinds of bees in a hive. Students should go ahead and choose their conclusion sentence that they would like to use for today. They should share their idea out loud, and then they can go ahead and write their conclusion at the very end after their 3rd detail. After they've written, they're going to go ahead and do their 4 quick checks that they do for each sentence. And after they're finished, they will need to make sure they go back up to yesterday's writing, start at that topic sentence, and read all the way down to make sure it makes sense, to make sure they didn't leave anything out, and to make sure that they put their letters really nicely on the line. If they were able to do that to get their 5 sentences, then they did a wonderful job today with their informational writing. So if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to your child's teacher. And I hope you have a wonderful day writing.